Marines call exaggerated displays of enthusiasm, from shouting "Get some" to waving American flags to covering their bodies with Marine Corps tattoos, moto. You won't ever catch Sergeant Brad Colbert, the 28-year-old commander of the vehicle I ride in, engaging in any moto displays. They call Colbert the Iceman. Wiry and fair-haired, he makes sarcastic pronouncements in a nasal whine that sounds like comedian David Spade. Though he considers himself a Marine Corps killer, he's also a nerd who listens to Barry Manilow, Air Supply, and practically all the music of the 1980s, except rap. He is passionate about gadgets. He collects vintage video game consoles and wears a massive wristwatch that can only properly be configured by plugging it into his PC. He is the last guy you would picture at the tip of the spear of the invasion forces in Iraq. Now, in the midst of this ambush in a nameless town, Colbert appears utterly calm. He leans out his window in front of me, methodically pumping grenades into nearby buildings with his rifle launcher. The Humvee rocks rhythmically as the main gun on the roof turret, operated by a 23-year-old corporal, thumps out explosive rounds into buildings along the street. The vehicle's machine gunner, a 19-year-old Marine who sits to my left, blazes up the town, firing through his window like a drive-by shooter. Nobody speaks. The fact that the enemy in this town has succeeded in shutting up the driver of this vehicle, Corporal Josh Ray Person, is no mean feat. A 22-year-old from Missouri with a faintly hick accent and a shock of white blonde hair covering his wide, squarish head. His blue eyes are so far apart Marines call him Hammerhead or Goldfish. Person plans to be a rock star when he gets out of the Corps. The first night of the invasion, he had crossed the Iraqi border, simultaneously entertaining and annoying his fellow Marines by screeching out mocking versions of Avril Lavigne songs. Tweaking on a mix of chewing tobacco, instant coffee crystals, which he consumes dry by the mouthful, and over-the-counter stimulants like ephedra-based ripped fuel, Person never stops jabbering. Already he's reached a profound conclusion about this campaign, that the battlefield that is Iraq is filled with fucking retards. There's the retard commander in the battalion who took a wrong turn near the border, delaying the invasion by at least an hour. There's another officer, a classic retard, who has spent much of the campaign chasing through the desert to pick up souvenirs, helmets, Republican Guard caps, and rifles thrown down by fleeing Iraqi soldiers. There are the hopeless retards in the battalion support sections who screwed up the radios and didn't bring enough batteries to operate the Marines' thermal imaging devices. But in Person's eyes, one retard reigns supreme: Saddam Hussein. "We already kicked his ass once," he says. "Then we let him go and he spends the next 12 years pissing us off even more. We don't want to be in this shithole country. We don't want to invade it. What a fucking retard." Now, as enemy gunfire tears into the Humvee, Person hunches purposefully over the wheel and drives. The lives of everyone depend on him. If he's injured or killed and the Humvee stops, even for a minute in this hostile town, odds are good that everyone will be wiped out. Not just the Marines in this vehicle, but the 19 others in the rest of the platoon following behind in their Humvees. There's no air support from attack jets or helicopters because of the raging sandstorm. The street is filled with rubble, much of it from buildings knocked down by the Marines' heavy weapons. We nearly slam into a blown-up car partially blocking the street. Ambushers drop cables from rooftops, trying to decapitate or knock down the Humvee's turret gunner. Person zigzags and breaks as the cables scrape across the Humvee, one of them striking the turret gunner, who pounds on the roof shouting, "I'm okay!" At least one Marine in Colbert's Humvee seems ecstatic about being in a life-or-death gunfight. 19-year-old Lance Corporal Harold James Trombley, who sits next to me in the left rear passenger seat, has been waiting all day for permission to fire his machine gun. But no chance. The villagers Colbert's team had encountered had all been friendly until we hit this town. Now Trombley is curled over his weapon, firing away. Every time he gets a possible kill, he yells, "I got one!"